June the 22nd, 2025. Guys, I want to change the subject slightly. There's going to be a lot of information coming in, but right now I want to, again, slightly shift our attention to something else. This is the names of the 2025 Atlantic storms, and it goes from Andrea all the way to Wendy down on the other end there. You can pause it and read the names, but it's 21 names, maybe more storms than that, and if that happens, they will usually go into like a Roman numeral or something like that, or some kind of Greek name. I can't remember, but they'll do something. And there may be more than this, but these are the ones we're going to have to keep an eye on. And if we look at this AccuWeather forecast for 2025, they're saying 13 to 18 named storms. They list 21. But again, they'll go to Greek names if it goes beyond that point. 7 to 10 of these storms will be hurricanes, major hurricanes. 3 to 5, accumulated cyclone energy, 125 to 175. Direct U.S. impacts, 3 to 6. Now, going back to 2024, we had 18 named storms, 11 hurricanes, 5 major accumulated cyclone energy, 161, a little less than the predicted possibility at 175, and direct impacts were 6. 3 were in Florida, if you guys remember. Now let's take a look at the 2025 forecast and the average over the last few years. This year they predict 13 to 18 named storms. They listed 21 names. If it goes past that, it'll go into Greek names. Hurricanes 7 to 10, major 3 to 5, accumulated cyclone energy altogether 125 to 175, and direct U.S. impacts 3 to 6. 3 last year, I think, came into Florida, and 1 ended up all the way up into the Carolinas and Tennessee, Miss Helene. Anyway, in 2024, we had 18 named storms, 11 hurricanes, 5 major hurricanes with an accumulated cyclone energy of 161.6 with 6 direct U.S. impacts. Go back to a 30-year average, but this goes from 1990 to 2020. They should have come up to 2024 there, but anyway, 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, 3 major hurricanes. Right here is interesting, the accumulated cyclone energy last year was 161. The average is 123. Direct impacts average is 4. Okay, 6 last year, anticipated or predicted 3 to 6. Now the accumulated cyclone energy is very interesting because it is rising, and it very well could rise to this 175 plus. Now that's not good news at all, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I want you to be aware of how the planet is changing. And we know that it's going to be heating up because that's what the Bible tells us. It won't be by flood this time, it will be by heat, and we've got a lot of other indications that that will be happening. And this is really why I'm coming here tonight. We have one tropical watch. It's out in the Atlantic, but it's going to move north and northeast back towards the British coastline. But why I'm coming here is because we're looking at a dangerous situation setting up. I'm going to play this forward now. Before I do, pink is extremely high pressure. If you'll look over here on the chart, and then you go to low pressure like we see during the hurricanes at 980 and below. But this is very high pressure. And what you're going to see here is that it's going to set up, move over the Atlantic. It's going to come into the Caribbean and the Gulf and set itself up for several days. Let's play it forward. Again, starting today, going out, I think about 10 days on this one. Notice, again, high pressure, the orange, light orange, dark orange, all of that. Now watch as we go through here. Nothing's been allowed to come into the Gulf. This is going into July, okay? What's the danger in this? If you've watched my hurricane videos over the last 10 or 12 years, you'll know what I'm going with this high pressure. We saw this last year. We didn't see storms early. because of high pressure in the Gulf and in the Caribbean and the Atlantic. And so the longer that this high pressure system sets up across all of this area, the hotter the water will be. So the first chance after going into July, again, this is July the 8th, the last frame, then if we get a break in the high pressure, you're going to have a tremendous storm system starting to set up. Again, hurricanes is our Father's way of keeping this earth from overheating. The oceans, 3/4 of the surface of our planet, take on a lot of heat. And when they do, then it has to be released, or every continent is taking the winds coming off the Atlantic or coming off the Pacific or wherever you're at. It's going to increase the temperature on land. So the way God put the perfect balance in here was to have these hurricanes. They spin, they rotate, they get this hot air off the surface of both the land and the ocean and put it in very high altitudes and cool our planet. It's the air conditioning of Earth. It's up there where it's very cool, rotates it around, drops it back down many times in rain. So we're not seeing that. That's my point of this video. And so what I want you to do is be prepared for it. Again, it doesn't look like much happening over until July the 8th. That's not a good thing. We've seen these storms start to form in the last 5 years, 2, maybe 3 years into May, not June. Now it looks like June is not going to show us anything but a small low pressure system right out here that's going to move, again, north and northeast. And this is what the 7-day outlook for the National Hurricane Center down in Miami looks like, guys. Right here we have a 40% chance of cyclone formation in 7 days. Central subtropical Atlantic. Guys, not much is going to happen to it. It's going to sit here and until it moves into cooler water. Now, it may bring some heavy weather over into the UK or Ireland, somewhere like that. Just have to keep an eye on it. But we've got a high pressure dome setting over the U.S. right now, and that's part of this system that I'm watching that's keeping these storms at bay. This one's not going to last long. Plus, we have a Saharan sand layer, and that will absorb moisture always, and it really inhibits the ability of the storms to form. Not good. If it's in the perfect balance, you would have the storms on a regular basis, cooling everything off before it gets too hot. But because it's not going to do that, the storms are going to increase, and the heat wave over the U.S. and many other areas is going to be very intense. Guys, it got to, at one point, 121 on the heat index here today. It 118 yesterday, and about 114 or so the day before that. But 121, that's telling you what this high pressure system is going to do to the land now before any storms. Maybe we'll get a break and something will form maybe in the Gulf or the Caribbean and give us some moisture and relief. But right now it's not looking good, so prepare. Get extra food, get extra water, and maybe some way to stay cool. Our solar panels work very well during both ice storms and summer blackouts. Think about that. Let's take a look at current satellite radar images, guys. You can see storms building up, coming out of Mexico into Texas, coming out of New Mexico into northern Texas, going up into Oklahoma and Nebraska here, southern Colorado here, and up through Canada. Notice this area right here. That's the dome that's set up, okay? Still got a little moisture coming in on the lower levels, but if this thing drops south, it's going to cut all of this moisture off. But it's been incredibly hot. And if we look at the wide Atlantic view, let me back this out. Notice the intertropical convergence zone right here, guys. It's strong. It's just not very active right now. It's because you've got a mixture of Saharan sand or dust layer here and high pressure over the Atlantic, keeping everything pushed down. Now, you can also see that there is some, again, this is the high pressure dome, and it's pushing moisture out and being caught and pushed back into the U.S. That's telling us that El Nino does not exist at that point, and that means that everything that we normally see this time of year, unless that is present, you're going to see wind shear cutting everything apart here. But coming into the Florida area, Georgia, the Carolinas, we're starting to see an input that what it's doing is catching the rotation of this high pressure dome over the U.S. and pushing it back in. But this high pressure system is going to stop most storms. It's already produced some coming out into the Pacific. They didn't last long. They came back into the coast. So it's setting up to be kind of a rough Atlantic system or season, guys. So watch it. Pay very close attention. We're going to update this as we need to. You know, we watch every hurricane, every tropical system. So again, subscribe for that. Stay tuned. Watch for updates on the other situations on this planet. It's a heads up. Be safe.